energy, vitality, and the confidence to live again.
Whatever is in this 10-second ritual, it's amazing. Not only has my belly disappeared, but I've lost 18 pounds in only 3 weeks.
Had a time or weight go. And with my as a healthcare professional, some days can be downright chaotic. So something quick and easy was perfect for me.
Well, for me, it really wasn't so much the pounds I lost or the 5 inches off my waist. Pretty nice. The best part was getting my doctor off my back. Because let's face it, my vital signs have never looked better. And that right there, me a very happy man.
My mood has improved, my depression is gone, and I have so much energy. I even took up a few extra hobbies. I mean, it just feels great to feel like my younger again.
And get this, in 2 weeks, I lost 21 pounds. It was a life changer for me.
And all it takes is 10 seconds each morning before breakfast to experience this rapid weight loss. Because it seems the more you follow this the faster you'll get any weight loss plateau, helping you lose more weight as time goes on, without slowing down. You see, if belly fat and love handles are a problem for you, this breakthrough attacks this source, exactly like peeling away an onion. This powerful 10-second trick will remove months to years of layered, trapped fat around your core until what's revealed is the flat stomach you want and body you desire. According to Time magazine, silent killer that blocks your metabolism from doing its job by rerouting the food you eat, even if it's the healthiest, organic, non-GMO food you can find, to be shuttled towards your stomach and gobbled up by starving fat cells. Like a bottomless pit, this silent killer blocks these fat cells to consume the food you eat, even if it's healthy, just to grow exactly like starving kids. We'll get to more of that in just a minute. Silent killer has also been linked to some of the most major diseases that have plagued us, like diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, and even cancer. Let me put it bluntly. Than eating McDonald's 7 days worse than smoking a pack of cigarettes every day. It's worse than for 10 plus hours. If left unchecked, this silent killer can lead a path of destruction, making it harder for you to suffocating deadly fat around your midsection while your metabolism slows to a screeching halt. Hard you exercise or watch what you eat, this silent killer will just smile back at you as your body continues to pack on fat for no apparent reason. However, when you follow this breakthrough tip each morning in your day, belly fat can melt away like butter in a pan. In fact, the faster you can experience slimmer belly because metabolism will lost time. Many who've sworn by this fat trimming secret report losing between pounds in the first few weeks, plus up to 3 inches around their waists. You see, belly fat buildup is much larger happening inside of you. That's why it's not always your diet or lack of activity that... No, not time. After 40, your body is more sensitive to certain stressors which accelerates this buildup, and it all can be traced to a silent killer called action from the inside out. However, stopping breakthrough weight loss discovery 5,332 miles away. I'm going to show you what it is in this short video because it has to do with detoxes, shakes, smoothies. This is so much easier than scientists have seen. Pharmaceutical companies are scrambling to learn more than patent itself, like you to get the help you need and want. That's why this is very important. We can talk about all this, so make sure you pay attention. In just a minute, I'll give you a simple test you can perform on yourself to see if this silent killer is telling your metabolism to store fat instead of burn fat. Plus, trick you can use in the morning that flushes fat from your trouble spots like water being squeezed from a balloon. Now, if problem, but more so your butt, hips, thighs, or arms, this African fat loss secret discovered on the banks of the Zambezi River could release this problem area of fat until you reach your ideal shape and weight. In fact, the power of this runs so deep, it could even help calm high blood, reduce bad cholesterol, ease pain, and lower erasing any bad memories of feeling old, tired, and weary. Most people have no idea how far-reaching this silent killer could bully its way into your life and make you feel so sick, moody, fatigued, agitated. Just some of attention to. However, little test. Don't worry, it takes seconds. You'll finally understand why it's been so hard to lose weight. Good. And if that's the case, get down on yourself, because if you stick with me till the end, I'll show you the simple solution that reverses all while blocking any more deadly fat around your midsection, regardless of your situation. In fact, this 10-second morning tip is powerful. Your metabolism will have no choice but to use this stubborn fat for fuel right away. Much faster than any detox, keto diet, or won't starve, have to eat weird foods, and you won't have to track. If you're still somewhat skeptical, I'm also the number one worst food this silent loves to feed on that accelerates belly fat and you're developing diabetes and hypertension. And if that's the case, then you really need to pay attention. Published before, and we could get in trouble for it. We're willing to risk it all if it can help healthy and feel the best you can. See, your body is an amazing machine. What it needs, and usually it'll take care of the rest. And that's why this African lean belly secret holds so much promise and has sent shockwaves through the medical community for its belly flat and ability to rewind time on the youth and vitality of your healthy body. Best part, it has nothing to do with following a specific diet program, because if those worked, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't have helped 27,779 people so far. So keep watching, because you'll be shocked to learn the truth about certain exercises, even yoga, and how they could make this belly fat pileup even worse. This exercise specialists and nutritionists, your hormones, how incredibly fast your stomach will shrink down if you're a man or a woman or over the age of 40. Health and energy levels so much, you'll probably wish you knew this. Take my word for it. This change happening inside of you right away. Becky, who lost 64 pounds in 9 weeks following this morning trick, while giving her the confidence and energy to get back doing the things she loves with more stamina than her 18-year-old twins. And Jack, 7 weeks from his waist. He wrote in and said, "I love how I lost all this weight, but now I need shopping, and I hate shopping. Thankfully, my wife does though, so it looks like we're heading to the mall this weekend." Listen, it's enough. I'm going to share everything right here, including this 10-second morning tip to burn while blocking this silent killer from controlling your life here on out. Your belly will noticeably look slimmer on the morning you wake up. Now, I can't afford to speak about this powerful fat loss strategy for free. You still can, because I promise to show you something much larger. That's why if you take care of this silent killer at the source, tip, the brakes will be released and your metabolism can finally do its job, helping you burn fat around the clock, even while you sleep. Now, I know what you might be thinking, and tried it all. You know what? I don't blame your skepticism, but I promise you, this is nothing like you've witnessed, heard. A especially this simple morning tip that can change the shape of your body, fill you with energy while removing toxic fat buildup in a way you've never experienced before, because it has nothing to do with eating less and exercising more. So, record straight. This revolutionary breakthrough is nothing you've tried before. Could be the answer to your prayers, all thanks to a near tragic accident half awarded by beauty and terror. Now, I must warn you, this story will completely shock you. Leave. In fact, this story is so out there, yet so true, that many share it on Deadline, CNN, and other news outlets. I'm not one for the camera, nor do I want this weight loss breakthrough to be dragged down by reporters asking questions, because the proof is in the pudding. Like Janet, who lost 38 pounds sweating while erasing her morning aches and pains associated with her fibromyalgia, and Curtis, a pastor from thanked me for this miracle fat loss solution that helped him lose 5 inches off his while getting his doctor off his back. Curtis is off 3 of his medications, now has the energy to chase after his grandchildren. So, who am I? Why did you listen? Well, who better tell this story than the person it happened to? Hi there, it's Sharon. 237 pounds, 57 years old. And if I didn't nearly drown in the... well, is pie trick that and you wouldn't be here right now. So consider this a special time in the day, because frankly, I thought I was a bad day. I faced death and came to grips that it was my time, that they'd either find my body somewhere down the river or not at all. I just prayed if they did, I wouldn't be chopped meat from the hippos or crocodiles that lived in the area for family's sake. For my husband and I, this trip to the Zambezi River was but also a time to heal and get back to be. We figured going away on a trip like this would bring us closer together, but instead, this freak accident drove us further. We were struggling, and I was slowly every year for the last 7 years, my body stopped cooperating. I'd try and eat healthy, watch my carbs, fats, and exercise, but nothing seemed to stop the amount of fat my body was piling on. It was nonstop. I pre-diabetic and slowly grew more stressed and tired. It's not like I didn't try to fix it. I did what my trainer told me to do. I did what my doctor told me to do. I even read the books, followed the exercise videos, but nothing really ever worked. And if it did, only for a short time. Then the abuse started. What happened to my wife? You're so moody and you let yourself go. I take care of myself. And I hate to admit this because it's really... Eventually we stopped having sex. He stopped touching me altogether. Even a little butt or kiss on the cheek. It all went away. I tried, but it was hopeless. Really looking back, the kids were the only glue that held us together. Should we take a trip? Somewhere we always wanted to go. So we agreed to visit Africa and take in the mighty Zambezi River, which is considered wonders of the world. I felt like a trip like this would help us heal together. Little did I know it would have the opposite effect, like oil and water. You see, it was my idea that day, not his. I had to plead because he kept saying no, that it wasn't a good idea because I could barely swim and frankly too big to be doing anything. But reluctantly, he agreed. The next day, as soon as we barreled into rapid number 7, our raft fell 20 feet, smashed into the water, then flipped, sending all of us out of the boat in a flash. It literally took my breath away and forced the sucked down. To feel the raw power of the current was haunting because immediately you mercy of Mother Nature, the powerful, down like a vacuum tornado, to fight to the surface. but it was awful. To hand, grab my wrist and pull me up just enough to breathe. It was my husband, desperately life to a rock himself as he tried to keep going back under. He used to play football, so he was quite strong, but no match for the mighty Zambezi. Within seconds, I could see him beginning to lose grip, screaming at me to grab onto something else, but sadly I couldn't. Because of my weight and my size, I was hopelessly stuck. My husband's wrist and arm for dear life, and that shouted the words that were the nails in our coffin. If we get through this, I'm done. I'm done. And not another 10 seconds by that I lost my grip on his arm, and he lost his grip on my wrist as I went tumbling down the river at the mercy of the rapid current. I felt like a rag doll with no control or ability to save myself. At 100 pounds overweight, the strength and rather quickly. The only thing keeping me alive was my life jacket, helmet, which cracked from hitting the rocks, and the memory of my children. Was listening that if I survived, I'd make a change, not just for myself, but for my boys. You see, as a former college, I know what it's like to be in shape. I know what it's like to feel strong, but that distant memory placed 100 pounds of fat, crushing pain and depression. So just as I took in what I thought was one of my last breaths, I felt a rope tangle around my arm. I looked to my right and saw a group of people screaming for me to grab on as they pulled me in. Laying there on the banks of the Zambezi River, barely alive, dry, heaving and coughing up water, I thanked God for allowing me to live, and I vowed to keep my promise. After what just happened, I knew I could never go back to the way things were, in a body I hated, a body that failed me, and a one-sided, abusive relationship on its last breath coughing up dust. I didn't deserve it. Neither does anyone else. But my body was too sore to go home right away. I was completely out of the woods. They carried me on a stretcher out of the gorge to the local village we were staying in. After what happened, my husband and I did not stay in the hut, so I was left alone to heal and get better half a world away. But out of the ashes of the day, gave birth to a revolutionary breakthrough that saved my life along with thousands of others. In that hot, dink-smelling hut in the middle of Africa, where a small elderly man came into my life and changed it forever. And maybe yours too. Although nothing was broken and there was no internal bleeding, I felt like I went 15 rounds with a bear. Through an interpreter how I was doing, and I told him what happened. He then pulled out a small leather pouch filled still attached to the stems, which were nothing I saw before in the supermarket, and filled with juice. He took his bag, plus the stems, grinded them up, and poured tea. He told me to drink later. He said it'll help my body, taking away the pain. I did what he said, and within to feel different. Front flips, but my body slightly dulled. Later that night, I had and went to bed. Next morning, I noticed my pants were a bit looser. I didn't think, but my head didn't much, and my knees, which were beaten up, felt better. Swelling and bruising went down considerably. That day, the old man came back with the interpreter, and I told him whatever he gave me worked. I asked him for the name if I could get more. The same small leather pouch with the stems. He said to grind them and place them in a tea to have twice that day. I did what he said, and the next morning, my stomach was flatter again. While the crushing pain in my lower back from being thrown around like a rag doll away. The old man came back again, and that's when I begged him for the name of this weird to its stem. He laughed, something to the interpreter, who said outsiders were not allowed. But as he was leaving, the interpreter scribbled something on a piece of paper and left it in my hand. Walked over and read it aloud. It said, Namun Un. Luckily, the old man felt pity on me and left enough of this special ingredient for the rest of the week. So each day, I took a concoction twice per day. Each morning, I woke up slimmer, more energy and less pain. I couldn't explain it, and neither could my husband there to head home. I was excited to hop on the scale when we got back while beginning this new life. I began to look at this accident as a blessing in disguise. A brand new course, as once we got home, we shortly ended things. And that was fine. Looking back, it was a long time coming. And I arrived home, when I did finally hop on the scale expecting to lose would have been plenty, the scale said I lost 17 pounds instead. 17 pounds, I thought to myself. Nope, no way. It had to be wrong. Checked again, and it was the same number. I pumped my fist in the air and let out a... That's when it hit me. Would I be able to keep losing weight? Or will this weight loss be short-lived like the other times? You see, back home, I no longer had access with the stem that seemed to erase the pain, but most importantly, flush the fat from my stomach with or exercise. Know something. Even though we were aware when I experienced this rapid fat loss, I were hungry. Guides fed us very well, which baffled me sense. Even though we were stuffed most nights going to bed, I woke up with a flatter every morning. So after settling in, I needed to find out what the ingredient was, why it worked, and how I could get some more. If I could get some more. Research led me to Dr. James and his work. Renowned medical scientist, Dr. James's specialty was on the human killer I told you about before. Can turn the fastest metabolism into your own worst enemy. I originally sought him out to answer a few questions about what happened, but instead, he flipped my brain upside down, revealed a few shocking breakthrough weight loss tips I had never heard before, and I'm sure you've never seen either. So keep watching, because I'm going to share them all with you right now. First, the true culprit of stubborn belly fat, according to his research, was not so much genetics, but the specific killer. He explained to me that this silent killer was number one reason why I probably gained so much weight in my belly and kept gaining it no matter what I tried. According to Harvard Health, this silent killer is responsible for adding layers of fat along with extra fat cells around your midsection like bricks in a house. And once these fat cells reach a certain size, they replicate and multiply like a contagious virus, also their own toxic spew of hormones. Scientists have found these rivers of harsh hormones can trick your brain to crave more sugary foods, your metabolism to a sluggish crawl, allowing these fat cells to puff up and gain more size. Parasite feeding off its... In fact, many doctors now believe these fat cells are essentially alive, indirectly controlling your emotions, mood, feelings, hunger. No. But that's not... They can skyrocket your cholesterol levels, your blood pressure, and increase your risk for... And if you don't take care of deadly belly fat, it can diabetes, cancer, and even Alzheimer's. The magazine labeled this silent killer number 1. Hundreds of ailments and diseases can all be traced back to it. Dr. James told me, you'll need want and the healthy, energetic life you crave if you don't do something about this silent killer. He then said, there's a few things you can do to help quiet this problem and get these 100 pounds. The first tip he gave me, and one I promised you, was the number one worst food you need to avoid, which are omega-6 acids. These fats can be found in most processed foods like baked goods, snacks, salad dressings, and cooking oils. He said, although we need some omega-6, the standard American diet has 20 times the amount. Plus, killer loves to feed on omega-6 fatty acids. In the same way cancer cells suck up sugar to help them grow. Except this growth you'll experience isn't more cancer cells, but more deadly belly fat. You need to keep watching, because I'll show you the exact protocol I followed that helped me permanently lose all 90 while neutralizing silent killer at the source. Then Dr. James asked me if I was exercising, and if so, I told him some yoga and Pilates because I felt too. He stopped me mid-sentence. He said exercise is good and healthy, but in my case, my body was likely so inflamed that exercising more would be like throwing gasoline on an already raging fire. It turns out exercise, just like omega-6 fatty acids, are pro-inflammatory, meaning they produce inflammation, and that was the last thing I needed. Maybe the same goes for you. That's why, if you find it hard to burn fat, especially around your stomach, you need to take the silent killer first before starting any exercise routine. Remember, you need to have balance. Once this hormone is achieved, then the weight can fly off. Just a normal, sensible eating plan. That's why it's easier to lose weight when you're younger than you're 40 when you experience more hormonal imbalances. You see, pain is a sign of inflammation. Fatigue is inflammation. Too much fat around your stomach is a big sign. And maybe that's why this 10-second morning trick helps so much. By neutralizing the killer, allowing my body to finally get back into harmony. Once off, the bloat went away, and the pain disappeared, and my energy level back. But I wasn't completely sure. So that's when I asked Dr. James the serious question that happened over there. I told him what the pouch and what it did for me. I was convinced this ingredient was my ticket to get my life back. So I asked him if he ever heard of it and where I could get some more. I thought we lost when Dr. James said, "Sharon, I can tell you're serious about losing the amount of weight you want." "Which you should," he said. "It's dangerous. And your belly, which is a class ticket to one of the major diseases like heart disease, cancer, or Alzheimer's." "Sharon, I think I know, but I need to be sure. I've heard rumblings about this. So if it's what I think it is, this could revolutionize the entire industry. All our research will be turned upside down and pharmaceuticals our hands on this. Let me speak with a few colleagues back to you." We said, hung up the phone. I was bummed because so eager for answers, but kept repeating to himself that patience is a virtue and he'd eventually get back to me. Well, a few weeks went by, and during this time, I made sure to eat sensibly. It was my son's birthday, so I did have some treats, but nothing the ordinary. And after 14 days, I started wondering what the scale would say. So I hopped on, hoping to be at least or even better. Well, to make a long story short, it was a terrible decision on my part. I stepped on and said I gained 10 pounds. 10 friggin' pounds. I couldn't, and I thought the batteries were dying. But nope, the scale never lies. I gained 10 pounds. Just frustrated, I tell you, and so defeated. That's when the worrying set in. Doomful thoughts on my potential bleak future. Was I destined to be this way forever? Why was my body doing this to me? Did Dr. James forget about our conversation? I started to believe this was unwanted forever. Feared I'd die. At least I had my boys, I said to myself. But that next morning, nowhere around 8 a.m., I got a phone. It was Dr. James on the other line. "Hey, Sharon, how are you doing?" He seemed excited. I told him what happened, how I gained 10 pounds in 2 weeks and was on the verge of giving up. He chimed in. He said, "Sharon, stop right there. Sorry it took me so long to get back to you, but the name was hard to track down. Eventually, I contacted an old friend whom I met at school while getting my PhD. He specialized in African studies. He told me Namun Ungwa could mean several things, but mainly African plant found near